will be taken by roll call. Attending is John Spillane, Glenn Maffey, and myself at this point. We also have Bernie Marshall and Rick Mattson and Town Administrator Jim Johnson. So first thing is the abatements. Do we have any comments, questions? And if not, we get a motion to...
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Something has happened here where all of a sudden I've lost.
That all?
It's not me.
Did that happen to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the people, but.
It's almost like somebody's on the screen. Are we all seeing the same thing?
Yeah, it's bouncing around, and it says you're viewing HP 510 screen. So whoever's sharing this.
Never seen that happen.
We're taking last Tuesday, and it's an approximate 2-week turnaround for our results on those. Weston and Sampson is also continuing working on design of Eleanor Road Pump Station. And Leonard Road and Chandler Road are still waiting for Gorman Rupp to process the pumps at their factory. A representative was on site today, as well as the engineers, as well as myself and Al Peebles. And we should have a time frame shortly for when those pumps will be delivered and the contract could start. And I have one other sewer-related issue. I had a request from Kevin Orlando. This is a request for the board to lengthen the operational hours of the septic facility, and it would be up to the board's discretion to bring it to the zoning board of appeals. Right now, the facility is open from 8:30 to 11:45 in the morning, where Al has lunch until 12:30, and then after 12:30 to 2 p.m. are the hours. So that is all I have for you, Mr. Chairman and board.
It's 12:30 to when?
12:30 to 2 p.m.
2 p.m. And is there any particular hours? I mean, do we?
I believe, Bill, it's 2 p.m. because of the school that's right there and such.
I know we had that as an issue.
And so, I really can't see how there's many more hours that can be squeezed out of that facility, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Any thoughts from the other commissioners?
About that particular subject or about anything?
No, this subject.
No.
All right. I think that if I remember correctly, we can't operate that facility during school hours, and I'm not sure what it would take to change it, but it's still a school there, so I don't think that we will be able to change it. So if you could let him know, Bernie, that is an issue. It's not something that we can easily change, nor I'm suspecting it would be very hard to change it, given that the school is there and still in operation.
I did reach out to him, Bill, after consideration, and I told him that we were meeting tonight and that I would mention it to the board. So I will definitely get back to that gentleman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Patrick?
I was involved in that original agreement, and we might want to put that on the agenda again, because there are some things we can deal with, especially in the wintertime where there's a danger of the loads freezing. There could be a way we could extend the time in the evening after school has been let out. So, but I'm not prepared to discuss that right now. Can we put it on the agenda?
Mary, we can add that, and Bernie, if that, maybe you could look to see what that would mean. I'm not sure when school is considered to be done, and it might involve us, money keeping staff around, because I'm thinking that certainly the school might be operating close to 4 o'clock, if not 3:30 or whatever.
Mr.
Right.
Chairman, we discussed all this before, and there is a way to do it, but we should discuss it at length later.
Okay. If Patrick, if you have anything more to add, if you could get with Bernie, so he could fill the gentleman in on sort of the guidelines as what we can and can't do.
That would be great.
Okay, anything else before we move on? Hearing none. Comment requests. First one is 38 Peach Street and a portion of 24 Peach Street. It's a small subdivision there. A 5-lot subdivision off of Peach Street. Any,
Mr. Chairman,
Patrick?
I do have some information on that or some questions. If you look at the locus, okay, I think that's the first page. You'll see that the street backs up to 2 undeveloped lots. Can you see them?
Yeah, let me just, yes, I have that.
See the one that looks like a 7, sort of?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one looks, I don't know, it's just looks like a Lego or something. Okay, if we're gonna put water, there needs to be easements to those 2 lots. Just easements, that's all.
Looking at, so there's a large lot at the
It's
corner of High Plain and Washington Street.
Yeah, it's lot number 3. That's the one. That connects to both those undeveloped lots.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes.
And there probably should be an easement somehow on that lot that can service those 2 parcels that are separate. You see what I'm looking at there?
No, I see, I'm not
And
sure.
one of those lots goes all the way to Wash, I think that's the Jones's lot.
Yes.
Yeah, that very well someday could be developed.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes. Bernie?
in speaking with the engineering department today, they haven't released what their what to the planning board what their review is. However, I have had a conversation with Carl and Chris, and one of their considerations is an easement across prospective lot 3 for future sewer water from abutting lands is recommended to be discussed with the Sewer and Water Commission at such time.
That's perfect.
Okay. Any other comments? Anything else, Bernie, that you think that we should be of concern? It's not a very detailed plan.
It was also noted that it should be noted that it's 8-inch water main on Peach Street. There's no denotion. It's not denoted on the plan that Peach Street is a 8-inch water main, but that'll be one of the recommendations that I make, is that it's a 8x8x8 T and the 8-inch water line feeding that to all the way into the end of the cul-de-sac for future as well, and a hydrant at some point. Usually the fire chief likes to locate that hydrant.
Okay. They looking for something by May 6th. We could send a note to the planning board that we are interested in an easement off of lot 3 to service the lots beyond lot 3, and also any additional comments would be pending reviewing the engineer as well as the superintendent's comments. Anyone would want to go along with that? I'll make a motion that we send that to a note to the planning board that we wish to have an easement for both water and sewer.
I'll second your motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mary, do you have the motion? Okay.
No.
And John, you've got a microphone and a speaker. Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'm here.
All right, no feedback's there. Okay, so the motion is that we'd like an easement for sewer and water from lot.
It should be utility easement in case there's drainage.
Yeah, okay, and utility easement at the end of lot 3 to service the lots beyond lot 3, pending future comments from the town engineer and water and sewer superintendent. We have a second on that.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Glenn, okay, Glenn seconded. All right, all those in favor? John Spillane?
Aye.
Pat Fasinello?
Aye.
John Hassenjäger?
Aye.
Glenn Maffey?
Aye.
And Bill Abbott, aye. So that's 5-0-0.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, just one other thing before we close that, I will definitely make sure that that is an 8-inch water main on Peach Street, and just to make sure that everything's clear on that.
Okay. Comment. Comment request number 2. This is Lincoln Estates. We had already made our comments, and it looks like there's a permit for gravel removal operation plan for the as well as the phasing and constructions schedule. Again, the planning board is looking for comments. Do we have any comments beyond what we have already addressed?
I have one, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Ernie, okay.
I wanted to let you know that I reached out to the actual engineers. We have Greg Pierce for a quote to do a hydraulic assessment, and they came back with a $4,800 amount for that hydraulic assessment. I contacted the engineer, and through email, the engineer has assured us that they will, in fact, reimburse the town the $4,800 for that study.
Okay. Well, we have already said we wanted a capacity analysis, so I don't think we have any additional comments. So that if, unless anybody has a disagreement, I'll make a motion that we send a note to the planning board that we have no additional comments on the Lincoln's Estate subdivision related to the gravel removal operation plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Glenn. All those in favor? John Spillane?
Aye.
Patrick Basanello?
No.
All right. John Hassenjäger?
I recuse.
Okay. And Glenn Maffey?
Aye.
And Bill Abbott, aye. So I believe we have a 3, 1, and an abstain. Mary, you got that?
3-1-1.
Okay. Okay, correspondence number 1. This is the revenue numbers that I provide every month. Anyone have any questions on that? We're doing well on the usage charges for water. We're still behind on the entrance fees, although I believe folks may or may not be aware, but Pennington Crossing is planning on sending us entrance fees for phase 3, or not phase 3, but their 3rd building. So
It came in, Bill.
it did come in. Okay, so that was going to be another 125, but it still leaves us quite a bit short. Any other comments on the revenue?
Well, can I just say that if
Yes.
we can change some of the hours at the septic facility, we might be able to increase the revenue there.
Yeah, that's possible. Just to make everybody aware, I think I figured it was like 86% of our septic facility revenue comes from one hauler. And I don't know if that's the hauler who's asking for additional hours. But whenever you have a large part of any revenue stream coming from one person or one entity, you're always risk that if they leave, you lose quite a bit, but it's a good point there, Patrick. Okay, next item, policy review, reconsider rate increase in budget. Glenn, you put this on?
Oh, I did. I wanted to revisit just briefly the budget discussion from 2 weeks ago with some observations. One of the things I noticed this year is that we seem to be approaching the budget in some unique ways, and I think they're good. I like what we're doing, but I just want to talk a little bit about the nuance for a couple minutes. So what we're doing and what I'm seeing is one, that we're moving away from relying on retained earnings, which is the extra money we collect, and then we're also moving away from our dependence on entrance fees, which are in place to improve our existing system. So both of these shifts, they do make sense to me. I think the biggest thing we've done last year and again this year is to bring the water consumption estimate kind of back down to earth. And this was necessary, I think, because of our inclining block rate billing system was so wildly successful at discouraging excessive water use that, it required us to do that. So doing this makes a lot of sense. So they're all positive moves, particularly because I think we want to protect retained earnings. From what I understand, we're looking in the fall, at fall town meeting, there's going to be a lot of capital expenses, over $1 million, that retained earnings are going to need to be there for. And there's some other questions I want everyone to know I've been listening. There's a certain amount of post-COVID sort of uncertainty about future water consumption patterns. And Rick mentioned there might be some more water conservation measures that the DEP might end up mandating, kind of depending on where we fall with the permit. So I just want to say that I support the overall cautious approach, but I guess my concern that I wanted to express today is that we should be ready for what happens when these sort of conservative, grounded approaches turn out to be off, whether by a little or by a lot. Because when we over-collect on usage revenues, when we over-collect on entrance fee, all of a sudden our avoidance of using retained earnings at all doesn't make as much sense anymore. So I guess I'm proposing just one thing today, and it's all forward-looking. It's for future budgets and future years. Nothing for today, but that's when future budgets are sort of considered by the commission for approval. I guess I'd like to see and pay close attention to the previous fiscal year's actual usage revenue versus the budgeted usage revenue. And the same goes for entrance fees, actual versus budgeted. So then on July 1st, 2021, when it turns out that we beat usage revenue by $500,000, and that flows into retained earnings, we'll understand where that additional retained earnings came from. And the same goes for when the South Walpole Summer Street 40B pays their entrance fee, which I think is over $1 million. We'll understand that we underestimated entrance fees by $900,000, and we'll be kind of just clear where that portion of retained earnings came from too. I think it matters where it comes from. If it's because of usage, or it's because of entrance fees, or if it's for other reasons. I just think we should understand that. So for me, it's just a matter of having that whole perspective in front of us. The more information, the better. And I know the budget is a strong budget. I do support the new approaches to balancing it. I just want to be aware of some of these best practices. That's all. I mean, if anyone has any other thoughts, I'd be happy to hear them.
Okay, and that's one of the reasons that, I'm collecting the detailed billing information, as well as the revenue, as well as the production, so that we have, some history. And so it's not just a case we're comparing one year versus another. We can compare multiple years, so that it would be able to identify, in that year, it was either too high or too low because of maybe COVID or whatever. So I think we're making good progress in capturing more and more data, which will allow us to have a higher level of confidence on the various components to make up the budget.
I think you've been doing a great job, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Okay.
I had a comment on that, Bill.
John?
Basically, I agree with what Glenn said. I think, Bernie, in dealing with the Capital Budget Committee, I think you would probably be able to explain the source of the revenues a little more detail too, if in justifying projects, etc. And I would say that all I'm hearing from the federal government now is all this infrastructure money that's coming to the states and cities, that we should probably have our antenna up to make sure that sewer and water gets their appropriate piece of the pie for infrastructure that comes to Walpole.
I'll certainly look at anything that comes our way, sir.
And any opportunity to apply for,
Yes, sir.
infrastructure upgrades, et cetera, given, our scenario.
Maybe we could get a comment from Jim Johnson if he's still sweeping sand off, if he's heard anything. I imagine it's well too soon since the bill hasn't passed, but Jim, any comment on?
No, I can't tell you guys that we're watching that. We're watching what's happening with the county too. The county received $130 million plus, and that may be going directly to cities and towns. Walpole's set to receive $2.49 million. So we haven't received that money. We haven't even been given the guidelines as to what we can spend on it. I've heard rumors that we can spend it on sewer and water infrastructure projects and infrastructure related to our cable and internet connections, but nothing related to anything else specific. We've heard rumors about roads too, but nothing set in stone, and we have yet to receive that money. But certainly those types of projects are on our radar screen.
Very good, thanks. All right,
Thanks.
let's discussion items. Number 1, board secretary position.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Patrick,
Yes.
you wanted this on the,
I did.
go ahead.
It seems like a while ago that we had our interviews with the board secretaries, and nothing has happened. Either we offer somebody this job, or we're going to need to interview more candidates or something. I don't even know if they're interested anymore. I'm going to move that we offer to fill the board secretary's position within the next 2 weeks.
All right.
So, Bill, can I speak to that a little
Yes,
bit?
if you could, Jim, go ahead.
I'm sure Bernie and everyone can jump in here. We've been looking for multiple ways to try to improve efficiencies around town hall and the sewer and water department. We've recently partnered with Norwood on our animal control. We've recently partnered with Medfield on the veteran services officer. We've been looking at it internally, and we've actually eliminated that position, Pat. We're not looking to fund that and fill that at this point. Mary stepped up. She's taken on additional duties. She's taken on additional hours. The work is getting done internally. I've checked in with Bernie and Rick regularly to see if everything's okay. They're completely happy with operations, and I'm pleased to say that we've eliminated the position. Well, we've not filled it. We're going to save on health insurance by not having to cover that. There's a lot of efficiencies that Bernie and Rick have realized upstairs, so we're not moving forward with filling
I
that.
think that's great.
Well, that's totally unacceptable if we don't have a board secretary. Totally. That cannot be. I mean, we need to have that.
Hold on, we can't have two people talking. Patrick, you talk, and now Bernie, you want to speak, and then
Well, we actually, Mary Timothy has, and I'm going to echo Jim's sentiments. Mary Timothy has done an outstanding job, and this was sort of she was approached, and it was a trial basis, and I haven't seen one bump or one hiccup in anything that's happened since we lost Mary Frisbee. And I'm just going to echo Jim's sentiment, where it's going to be a cost savings, and I think that this is going to work out for the best.
All right, I would just like to add that Mary Timothy has been doing an excellent job. I did have a concern, and I brought it up when we were interviewing those candidates, a concern of what was a board secretary, given the current amount of work that they have, would be doing for 18 hours a week. It just isn't that enough to warrant having a board secretary. And I think if the work picks up, then we can certainly make the case that, yes, we want to hire somebody because of additional work being needed.
I agree.
Yeah, that's absolutely it in a nutshell, Bill. There's not enough work right now to fill an 18-hour position.
Well,
Under its current format and the way that we're currently operating, it's very efficient and it's working very well. Just having an employee,
Hold on,
have
Patrick.
an employee just to have the sake of an employee that you can say is your employee, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, you know, here's the thing. If you don't need 18 hours, it should be, how many hours do you need? Because our board secretary should have that many hours. So, Mr.
Patrick, I've been doing it a long time. I've been working with board secretaries for a long time, and I'm telling you right now, at this point in time, there is not enough hours. Now, the job is funded. Listen, Patrick, the job is funded. The job is funded for 18 hours per week. We're not inclined to fill it at this particular time, given the current situation with the workload.
Well, here's another thing. How many hours do you think the board secretary would need right now during this COVID situation?
5.
All right, then. So we need a board secretary for 5 hours.
And we have one.
No, we don't.
Mary has been allocated additional hours to meet the work that's required, and she's meeting.
Irrespective of the title, the work that is required to be done on behalf of the Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners is being performed without a hitch.
How do we know? Do we have any control over our not board secretary? Do we do her performance review? Where are we here?
I know in the past,
this is somebody else's employee.
In the past, I have performed the performance review, and if it, even though the direct report is to the superintendent, and if we have Bernie do the performance appraisal, I'm sure that he would consult me to get the board's input on any performance review, which there will obviously be one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't run government that way.
Let me jump in.
That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem.
Is there a job description on the position?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
And is there a job title?
Yes.
Yes, there was board secretary.
Okay, so does Mary Timilty have the title?
No.
No.
Well, maybe that's the issue, Patrick. I mean, if we need someone who's entitled to be responsible to respond to the commissioners of sewer and water, we would require that we have an individual who has that title and designated responsibility, irrespective of how many hours or whatever town hall wants to allocate as far as their responsibilities to us. Why wouldn't she have the title?
And if we get to the situation where we're going to need additional hours more than what Mary Timothy's providing, at that point, as Rick said, the budget does accommodate having a board secretary.
Yes.
We can.
Mr. Chairman, do you know the title? Do you know this saying fait accompli? Okay?
Yes, I do.
That's not going to work.
It's working just fine.
Yes.
There hasn't been a hitch or a bump in the road.
Any more?
Mr. Mattson is not a commissioner.
I understand. Any other comments from other members of the board?
Well, I would just say it'd be good to have a designated individual that commissioners can individually call to be and will be responsive to particular needs and requests, the function of Commissioner of Sewer and Water.
And Mary Timilty is that person, and as she can attest,
well, why not give her the title then?
She already has a title.
John, she just took on additional workload. She took on 5 extra hours a week. Bernie and Rick came to me and said, we're covered with the extra 5 hours a week. She handles the agenda. She works with Bill directly on the agenda. I know she spoke to you last 2 meetings ago, John, about some items on the agenda. So we're telling you, we're the professional office staff in the office. It's working fine. And Patrick, if you have a problem, you've been on this commission, I think, longer than I've been alive. come to me. I'm your agent. You always remind me that the town administrator is your agent.
You
And
are indeed.
I'll bend over backwards to help you or get you something if you need it, whether it be a radio or a ride or anything.
Well, that didn't happen, did it?
Did I get you a radio?
No, I didn't get a ride though, did I, to my MWRA meetings?
Okay, I want to
Joe, can I put 2 cents in?
Go ahead, John.
I think Mary Timberly's done a great job. She's a great girl. I think she should be named as board secretary, whether it's 5 hours or 18 hours.
I don't know, Jim, if one can give somebody a second
Can we just
title.
leave it on the agenda for further discussion?
Sure.
Just leave it on to the discussion point.
Move on to, Patrick, you had another item, the Jarvis Farm parking lot.
I did. I had Jarvis Farm parking lot, and basically, I wanted to know what the status was.
Rick Mattson.
At this point in time, Commissioner Fasanello, we are working with the Department of Environmental Protection and the Engineering Department.
Yeah, but I've gotten no feedback, and you
The
said
engineering department has been up there and staked out some corners as to where they think, based on what they see, where we could put the lot without impacting the Eversource easement right away.
Yeah.
That's one of the issues that we have. We're kind of restricted for space because Eversource is not going to allow us to construct a parking lot on their easement.
that's fine.
In terms
But
of
the thing is, you said that you'd involve me in this situation. If there's engineers up there, I
right,
want to know.
it's our engineer. There's no reason for you to be involved at this point in time.
I think there is.
When we get to the point where the DEP, it could be as early as tomorrow, Patrick, when the DEP comes to visit the site, I will certainly give you a call. We've been corresponding back and forth, haven't been able to confirm a time yet, but it may possibly happen tomorrow.
You have to remember that I took an oath to protect the water.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that. You
And
all did.
therefore, I need to know what's going on.
We all do.
I've seen the stakes. I've been up there to look to see, and also I know that I've seen copies of the correspondence with the DEP. So it's not a forgotten project. And Rick, if you would let Patrick know if there's something to see.
Right,
Okay.
absolutely.
Next item.
I'd like to make a comment on that too.
All right, John? Yes.
Am I correct that the easement is a national grid easement?
I don't know if it's Eversource or natural.
That's correct.
What, is it natural? National
Eversource.
Grid? Eversource, yeah.
Okay. They paid virtually nothing for those easements. And I don't know what Rick's quoting, but actually the landowner has many rights of property use within the easement. The easement area is a huge area.
Right, but not under the power lines.
Yeah, but there's 30 feet beyond the power lines that are in the easement.
Right, and we went right up to it with the stakes. We went as far as we possibly could to the edge of the easement with the stakes. I'll confirm that with Chris Johnson tomorrow, but I believe, John, we went as far back as we possibly could without creating an issue with Eversource.
And I know from following what's going on at the West Street Renmar Road project, where there's got 103 units in there, where they have the electrical easement going through high tension wires, and they certainly, under those wires, they have a lot of authority as to what you can and can't do. So any other comments, questions regarding the parking lot? It seems that
Yeah, I have
things are
one, Will.
moving. Yes, John.
You know, I'm thinking now that people forgot why we bought that place in the first place. You know, it was to preserve the water, protect the water. It's turned into something completely different now. And if we don't get a parking lot up there to protect what's under the ground, I think we should lock the place up.
Okay. Any further comments?
One little comment on the infrastructure that the electric company has there. Do they pay taxes to the town of Walpole for that infrastructure?
Jim could answer that better than I could. I don't know, Patrick.
Sorry, Pat, what was that question again?
The company, whatever, they change their name all the time.
Eversource, yep.
Eversource now. Okay, they have structures. Do they pay taxes for those structures to the town of Walpole?
They do pay taxes. Actually, they're in the top 5 taxpayers in the entire town.
And,
I'll get the exact numbers for you for that site tomorrow if you'd like.
And do they own that land, or do they only have an easement across it?
I believe just
You
an
don't own the
easement.
land.
Just an easement.
So it's town land anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you seen a copy of that easement?
When we were going through to purchase it back 6-7 years ago, I still have the file. It's in my office. I remember seeing it on the deed and everything. But I can pull it for you, Patrick, if you'd like.
Because there may be language in there that allows us to have an easement on their easement.
Okay.
Okay. The last item is the new water bill format. We did, I believe we got a copy from the collector's office of a sample that the company who will be doing the printing provided. And we could stay with what we are doing right now with some changes. I know that we've just working with Mary's group as well as the collector's office had suggested some things. I just wanted to know at this point, I guess maybe the printer's copy, does anybody like that version there?
I have some additions to it, or modifications.
Patrick, you'd have some?
Okay. Since this is a bill for the water and sewer, and we in the town charter are responsible for the billing, it should say across the top, it should say, I don't know if you can see this, it should say Board of Water and Sewer.
I can see that.
Yeah, commissioners, or Town of Walpole Sewer and Water Commission, whatever. It should have our title on it. But the second thing, it should have in a space that can be any place on it, it should have refer to website for current rates.
Yes, that is
I know they won't
one of
fit on the bill, and that's fine. But all we need is that little statement, and that clears us. Because now it's the people, if they want to know the rates, they need to go to the website that has those rates.
Yes, it was one of the suggestions that I had was to point that out. We would have a bigger message area that would tell someone how they can change cubic feet into gallons, directing them if they wanted to see the current rates and fee schedule, give a link to the website for information on rebate programs, give them the link for that. And let's see, I'm looking at the other, the collectors, if they had an issue, giving their phone number, and if there was some issues with the water, that they would have the phone number for the water department. There were some other changes if we were looking at our bill that had been made that like on the actual and estimated usage. Right now it just says usage and it has either an A or an E. We can put that I was suggesting making that title actual/estimated usage and having the A and the E be in capital letters. That might answer some of the questions. And in terms of we could also add that number is the usage is in cubic feet. Now that might take a little bit to expand that title.
And the cubic feet should be also in gallons, because people understand gallons, that they don't really understand cubic feet.
We are, Patrick, we're limited to what's in the billing file.
No, in the website.
Oh, yes, we can do that. But in the message, we would tell them how to, if they,
We'll give them
you just multiply the numbers together. And we would have on the website examples as we are providing other examples. I guess what we need to decide is we have two things that have presented. One is using our current bill as sort of the basis and moving things around a little bit and also putting the prior usage as well as a bigger message area. Other than that, basically it's shoving things around to make some room. And the other alternative is what the printer has suggested. Mary, you sent that to everybody, right?
Yep.
It's a totally different format.
Can you fit everything you described on the printer sample, or have you tried to see do you have an idea where everything would go?
Well, I mean, I can see the read code. They have E, and I think it looks similar to another bill that we saw, and I think they have that format that they already use in other communities, and they probably would be delighted if we said, oh, we'll go with that one. Although, as my understanding, they will do whatever we want. The limitation is it's whatever we want on the bill. It has to be in the bill file that they get, which is basically the variable type information. And there is some limit on messages, but I think if something is not subject to change, such as how you can multiply cubic feet by 7.48 and come up with gallons, or pointing you to websites, that should be able to be put there even if that information isn't in the bill file. Currently, the only thing that's in the bill file right now is that short crammed message area, which gives the residential rates, and it sort of wraps around. It's really not useful. So,
and interestingly, the bill file they get does not include the amount due. Is that right? Because you said that.
Oh, it does.
So when I asked you, when I see the consumption history over here I'm looking at the printer sample.
Okay.
And we have the quarterly, I guess a year's worth of quarters worth of bills, but they don't have the amounts charged. They just have.
Oh, okay. That is the amount charged is not in the bill file. It is the date that the meter was read, the end date of that meter period, and the usage. That's all that's on our bill file.
I had asked you if it was possible to have the history of amount paid in addition to the amount consumed, and it sounds like that's not something that can be done.
No. We're strictly limited to what is provided in the bill file from Munis, and I'm not sure that Munis would be able to go back because I think they just have the usage for prior years.
I got you.
So any thoughts of and Mary, as well as Bernie and Rick, any thoughts on which format that we want to go with, or something totally different? I just know that the collector's office, since the present printer is no longer going to be doing any of the printing for the town, the new printer needs some information, although it's not pressing that we aren't going to put out bills. If the existing printer will allow us to go a little bit longer. Right now they're working, I think, on property tax bills and excise tax bills, things like that.
So my preference is just with the printer sample. If I could just put that out there, and I do like the consumption history. I know you had said 8 previous months, but I kind of
it's eight previous quarters.
Okay, yeah, that would
it's by quarter.
Yep,
right.
I would. Yep.
All right, so you like the printer's version?
I do.
Mary?
So I like the printer's version also.
Okay.
I also like the idea of that box on the upper right-hand corner that we could really utilize, putting in the website address.
Okay.
All the information that we can take out of that cramped message box.
Yeah.
Can be, permanent on that top box there.
Right.
I just find it much easier on the eye than what we have currently.
Okay, that's
And,
fine.
yeah, I just like the idea of something new and fresh if we're gonna just,
Okay, any other comments? Do you have any strong feelings? Myself, it's a bill. If it causes questions for, the office people or the people in the collector's office who also get questions, I just like let's not pick something that causes them more problems, so.
I agree. No, I like this. I like the printer sample as well, Bill.
Okay.
I think if we could incorporate maybe, like you said, a link to, calculating of gallons and such like that, or to our website so they can get the actual, the actual fees and stuff like that. I think if that can be incorporated, then I think you're downtown with this, to be honest with you.
All right, John Spillane, do you have any thoughts?
No, not really, Bill.
Okay, it's a bill to me, that's fine. All right, I think what I'll do is.
I have a comment, Bill.
Okay, John. Yes.
I definitely think the web site reference should be there for the rates. And Patrick's idea about the branding of having at the top, just like we do on our agenda. If you look at your agenda, sheet is Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners.
Okay.
I would think there's nothing wrong with having that at the top of the page, so people don't forget who we are.
Okay. Anything else, John? No? Okay.
Motion to
Patrick?
adjourn.
No, just 1 second there. What I'll do, Mary, is I'll work with you. I'm going to bring the abatements in, and maybe we can dress up this bill with some of the comments, and I'll bring it down to the collector's office and see if they have any concerns.
Sure.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by John Spillane to adjourn, and seconded by Glenn. Okay, a roll call. John Spillane.
Aye.
Glenn Maffey.
Aye.
Patrick.
Aye.
John Hessenjager.
Aye.
And Bill Abbott, aye. Okay, we're all done. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, have a good evening.